Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves.
What is the difference between a Democrat and a socialist?
The greatest crisis today is not the Middle East, it's not Iraq, it's Syria, but it's climate change.
Yeah. All the people don't have freedom, all the people don't have justice, and all the people don't have power, so that means none of us do.
The big government lovers painted a picture of doom and gloom in 2011.
The future must not belong to those who slander the Prophet of Islam.
We see it in the STEM program. You know, people have talked about this STEM program being such a great deal.
Welcome to the Abolitionist Roundtable, your all-access pass to the 2016 Black Conservative Revolution. Join the conversation at 734-822-1600. Now, here are your hosts, Del Marsh, Phil Stargell, and Janice Daniels.
Good morning and welcome to Art of Michigan, heard every Saturday morning from 7 a.m. till 8 a.m. on the conservative powerhouse, Wham Talk 1600 from the beautiful and vibrant city of Ann Arbor, Michigan. This is Janice Daniels. I'm the former mayor of Troy. I'm a current board member of the Michigan Conservative Union. I'm the regular co-host on Art of Michigan, and I'm just an all-around nice little radical for liberty. I want to thank all of you for joining us this morning. Please join the conversation by dialing 734-822-1600. Anytime you want to give us a call during this hour, please feel free to do so. We'd love to talk to you. That's 734-822-1600. I have to tell you that both of my fearless friends, Del Marsh and Phil Stargell, are a little bit under the weather today, so they are not with us. I almost had to row this boat by myself, but my lady from the round table has joined me. We have Alison Lorkowski. She is the founder and president of the group called Vote Biblically. Find her on the website, votebiblically.org. Good morning, Alison.
Good morning, Janice. It's so good to be here. We're going to have a great morning this morning.
I think so, too. We're going to interview Deb DeBacker from the Stop Common Core organization.
Wonderful.
And we're going to interview Norm Hughes from Michigan CPAC. There is the conference next weekend that is really going to be one of the great conferences of the year. He has an annual conference, and it is about conservative principles, advancing limited government principles, understanding the nature of our constitutional government. And I think that that's really important because, as I have said, to me, the defining issue of our time is constitutional rule of law as set out under Judeo-Christian principles in the beautiful country of America versus Islam and Sharia law. That, to me, is the defining issue of our time. We might talk about the showing of the movie that we had last week, Stoning of Seora M. That was a wonderful opportunity for people to see the face of Islam and Sharia law. But Alison, first I'd like to find out what you're doing these days.
Oh, well, I'm excited. I mean, this is a great year, 2016. We're voting. We have our presidential election. So Vote Biblically really wants to focus on God and biblical principles. So we're excited. We have this big movement, this big campaign going to get billboards up. Vote Biblically 2016 is the year. So we're asking people to go to the website to contribute, votebiblically.com. And you can check out the information on there and check out the billboard and see how it looks. And if you have any comments or questions, we'd love to hear from you. We're doing that.
Yeah, that's a great opportunity. I know you're also involved with a group called We Agree America.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about that.
Oh, it's so exciting. I mean, it's so exciting to see pastors get together and Christian leaders coming together and doing a project. And this is weagreeamerica.org is the project. And really what we wanted to do, we met in Lansing and we sat around a table and we said, what can we do? How can we get that voice out there? Because there's a lot of propaganda and misleading information. And we wanted to give out information and from a Christian perspective. So you can go to weagreeamerica.org. And we have different topics. We cover education, entertainment, and there's like 20 to 25 people that were involved in this project. And we're encouraging the churches. We're handing out brochures. So if anybody wants brochures for their church, they can just email me and let me know. But we're handing this information out to the churches. It talks about Sharia law. Obviously, vote biblically. It talks about Israel and just giving people good, solid information on those topics.
You know, there's a lot of involvement, a lot of revival kind of movements going on. In fact, I think Norm Hughes wants to talk about the revival that he sees in this country. Right. And we do need to have an understanding of our constitutional government. In fact, I just signed up for Hillsdale College's public policy course. It's constitutional understanding of the most urgent issues of our time. Because if we don't look at our issues that we have facing us through the prism of the Constitution and how we should be addressing these issues, we're not going to understand these issues. In fact, quite frankly, I was very surprised to find out that in 1952, Public Law number 414, it's a federal law called the Immigration and Nationality Act. Immigration and Nationality Act. Mm-hmm. And what it says is that the following classes of aliens shall be ineligible to receive visas and shall be excluded from admission into the United States of America. And then it goes through a list of who cannot come to this country. And people who advocate the economic international and governmental doctrines of world communism or the establishment of a totalitarian regime in America cannot be allowed into the United States of America. Anyone who wants to advocate or teaches the overthrow of our government cannot be allowed to enter into the United States of America. So once again, if we the people would only understand the laws that we have on the books already, we could solve a lot of the problems that we have. And in fact, we talk endlessly about how our elected officials, when they're campaigning to get into office, they say one thing, their campaign literature, it's glossy, it's beautiful, they're going to fix Washington, they're going to protect our property, they're going to lower our taxes, and they get into Lansing or Washington, wherever their high place might be, and they do the exact opposite. And it's because we, the people, don't back them. We're not there saying, this is what you need to do.
Right. Well, it's accountability.
That's exactly right. Accountability, and that's what's lacking in this country. Now, we have some really good representatives, I think, in the state of Michigan. One of them is Representative Gary Glenn.
Yes.
And I admire the man so much. I think he is an absolute statesman. He understands the nature of his role as a people's representative, and he has put forth a public policy statement he wants to turn into a public law, and that is to stop Common Core. Just completely eliminate the Common Core standards from the lexicon of education and return our educational accountability back to the people and or the states. And it's very interesting. We have on our line this morning Deb DeBacker. She is one of the founders of the group that has been most effective in stopping, or at least bringing to light, that we should stop Common Core. Good morning, Debbie.
Good morning, Debbie.
Hi, good morning.
Thank you for getting up early to join us here. Let me give our call letters out again. We are being heard out of Ann Arbor on Wham Talk 1600. And if you want to join the conversation, the number to call in is 734-822-1600. Debbie, give us some insight into what Gary Glenn's bill or proposed bill is going to do.
Okay. Well, first I want to make sure that everyone prays for Gary Glenn for this endeavor and for his health.
Thank you.
And we are at Stop Common Core in Michigan Incorporated Facebook and our website. So if everybody doesn't remember what I say, they can always go there.
Is that stopcommoncore.com?
Yes. StopCommonCoreInMichigan.com.
I see.
Because there are groups like ours in almost every state of the nation.
Good.
That we talk to. So we are in advisors from the think tanks and that kind of thing. So we're involved in those type of groups. So we are not fledgling here on our own.
Good.
And what this legislation, we call it repeal and replace Common Core, because in the past in other states they've simply repealed Common Core and renamed it, and the state school boards or committees set up by governors have just replaced it with a new name.
Right.
And the same type of progressive constructivist education. And so the answer to this is to let's get some standards that have worked and brought in the past, the near past, that brought a state up to the top scores in PISA, equivalent to the countries that score well in international exams. And let's start from there.
Well, isn't
and
the
so
focus...
what we did was this bill not only repeals it, Common Core, but it also replaces it with the Massachusetts standards, pre-Common Core standards.
Well, isn't it also trying to restore and return the control of our education of our children back to the people rather than this top-down bureaucracy brought to us from the federal government, Deb?
Right.
Well, that's what Common Core is. However, and we do have the right to opt out in this bill, and school districts can choose not to use the new Michigan standards that we're proposing. However, as you know, the federal government, even though they only give us 10% of our money in every budget, in every year from the federal government spent in our local school districts, but there is federal law that we have to have state standards, that we have to have state testing. Our congressmen and senators just voted for the reauthorization of No Child Left Behind, called Every Student Succeeds Act. And in there requires testing, in fact, more intrusive testing involving social and emotional attributes of a child than we have already have had to do.
Well, I noticed that in Gary's...
Justin Amash voted no on that bill, so we have to have standards. Now, we also are proposing the old Massachusetts test, which is more knowledge-based than the tests like M-STEP that we're getting now.
Debbie,
so we're still controlled by the federal government, yeah.
I have a question for you. Do the parents, sometimes I wonder, do the parents realize how much the school system is getting into the emotional and, asking their children questions that really I don't think they should be asking?